What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the garage, and we'll give it a couple minutes here. It's been quite the long day. Let's figure out, is there got to be a way I can prop this thing up a little bit better? There we go. Maybe like that. Maybe like that. We'll give people a couple minutes to trickle in here on this Saturday, June 4th. Well, Mike. So, if you didn't see my quick video earlier, the Typhoon is technically running. Still got a lot to do on it. Still got to finish the transmission stuff up as far as wiring up the micro squirt into the transmission. Get that ready to go. That's the next thing so we can start driving. Let my hair down. And we got 12 days, 12 hours, 40 minutes left. So here's the big thing. This FuelTech ECU, this is the FT550 Lite. This is the easiest standalone system I've ever used by far. And I've done, obviously, I've done multiple Hollies. I've done Mega Squirts. I've done Max. I've done AEMs. Man, I tell you what, I am pretty sold on this FuelTech stuff. Very happy with everything so far. Only issue I really ran into was during initial startup. I ended up going from coil near plug to wasted spark, but I'm using one of the V6 units that has 3 coils on it. So it's still better than, you know, a distributor setup. You got 3 separate coils and it's firing off cylinders. So a lot more spark power that way, significantly more spark power. But the wiring diagram, I tried to use like a 2006 Chevy Impala V6 or something like that. And it had the outputs for the second and third coil basically switched for the ignition. So getting typical, like every once in a while, backfire through the intake. Which normally it just was like, okay, maybe the timing's off. I thought I had the timing dialed in pretty good. Maybe the timing was off. And finally I was like, you know what? I think that maybe that second and third coil might actually be backwards. So I swapped the outputs in the program. Kicked off. Well, I say it kicked off. For the most part, it started finally firing up. And it was just super rich. You know, the base fuel map that it came with was way off. I've had to pull significant amounts of fuel out. Started out on milliseconds, which I'm just not going to tune in milliseconds. So I kicked it over to VE, and I've just been taking fuel out. In fact, I just got done hooking up to it and adjusting the fuel table live and had to pull like another 20% out. And it was going into closed loop with the AEM. It's got an AEM 300300. We're using the output signal from that for closed loop on it. And it was going into closed loop and correcting, but it was correcting like 25, 30% richness. And so got it idling, fires up good. In fact, you know, if you guys want, I can go over there and fire it up real quick so you can see how easy it fires up surprisingly well. I don't know. What do you think? Anybody want to hear this thing? Turbo's not hooked into it. Yet, because the intercooler pump is sitting over here. Hey, here's a little treat for you guys. I bought a Bosch intercooler pump as a replacement, and it didn't come with a harness. It uses an EV1 injector harness. Luckily, I got tons of these floating around. How crazy is that? Yeah, transmission swap, drive lines done. Everything's basically done. In fact, I've got to hook up the speed sensor for the micro squirt that's running the transmission. I've got 2 speed sensors on this. I'm using same plug, literally an EV1 injector plug. I was looking at how I could plug that in, and I started looking at it. I was like, man, that looks like an injector plug. It is a Bosch pump, though. I will say that much. So it is a Bosch pump, but yeah, let's fire it up. See if it fires up as easy as I say it does. So easy. So easy. Mind-blowing. And here's the thing. Actually, let me do this. Boop. Let me put this one over here like this, and we'll do something kind of like that. Here's the manual that comes with it. 600, 550, 550 light, which we're running, the 450. Look how thick this thing is. Color pictures. Oh, this is by far one of the best manuals. And you get into, and you can see, like, it flops straight open to the crank trigger. That was one area that I thought I was having issues with, but I wasn't. Had some issues with the TPS sensor and found out that if you follow me on Instagram, I posted a picture of one TPS went one way and the other TPS went the other way, and I had the wrong direction TPS sensor in there. And shout out to BBS Throttle Bodies for trying to help me out on that one. But it goes into like troubleshooting in the actual sections. Instead of having troubleshooting at the back of the book like some places do, wiring diagrams, color wiring diagrams, it has troubleshooting in here that says specifically, like on the TPS, is like to check the pin out, use an ohm meter and check these pins, and these are the readings that you should get. And same ordeal on the crank sensor. I had issues with the crank sensor on the crank trigger, getting signals back on that. And so if you go into the crank trigger section where I was at yesterday, it literally talks about VR sensors and Hall effect sensors and stuff like that, and how to test to see which ones yours is, and how to figure out which pins to bring in. So yes, exactly, Burb. Very smart way to group the information by putting it in the actual section as you're going through the book. Now, granted, I didn't use this hardly at all. I used it for the crank sensor and the TPS sensor and other than that, I had it sitting to the side, because the cool thing about it is I went in and set up all my outputs and stuff, inputs and outputs in the software, and then just printed out the wiring diagrams directly from the software. It creates a printout that you can do, print it out, use that to wire everything up, and made life easy. So very, very, very impressed by FuelTech. Not getting paid by FuelTech. I paid for all of this, but I'm telling you right now, I would not hesitate for a split second to install this on a vehicle again. Honestly, and the price is not bad. It's not that much more expensive than a Holly or something like that. So, yeah, well, MK, literally, I don't know. Terminator X is what, $1,000 nowadays? And the FT550 that I'm running, the 550 with the built-in display is $1,800, but that's with the built-in display. So you're getting the display and the ECU, which if you buy a Terminator X and an ECU separately, you're going to be in the same ballpark as far as the price. So what up, 92 LSC? Good to see you, man. Who else we got here? Funny Muffler, Jason Kimball, WS6. Sorry I missed you the other day. I was literally so busy, I didn't even realize that we had a one-on-one. What up, Dale Soul? Van Life Israel. Thank you, brother. Welcome to one of the live streams. So that's where we're at. I've got two leaks. I've got an oil leak on the oil pressure sender. Not surprisingly, because I used a T on the turbo pressure fitting. I don't know where it's leaking from yet. I haven't crawled underneath there, but it's luckily I had a little bit too much oil in it anyway, so I'm just letting it kind of drain out to a pig mat. And then I've got a very slight water leak on the turbo water return line, and I've got new copper crush washers on the way. I use new ones, but it's still leaked. I've torqued it down beyond what it should take to get it to seal, so I'm going to pull that off and resurface the banjo bolt, because it is the original banjo bolt. That's one of the few things I didn't replace. But so I got to fix those two leaks. Got to get the intercooler hooked up, back up now that I've got the new pump. I bought a SureFlow. Yeah, this ain't fitting. I spent like an hour and a half yesterday getting that thing mocked up to the intercooler and went to go bolt it into place, and the intercooler wouldn't fit anymore. So I bought a replacement size, which, small little dinky pump, but it's going to be better than what was in there because the one that was in there did not work. So the intercooler was literally doing nothing on it. Needless to say, whenever that is the case, you're running absolutely no timing. The thing felt slow, even though they are slow, you know, in stock form, but even in stock form, it felt slow. Should have figured out that the IATs were too high on it. But being that this is the first time working on one of these, I wasn't sure what kind of IATs to expect. What else? Wheels still aren't going to be here in time. I have a set of drag radials in the back of the truck to fit on the stock wheels. So we'll go ahead and throw drag radials on the stock wheels and run it on the stock wheels. Can you touch a little bit on fuel sig and lean mode and HP tuners for the 6-liter GM engines when you can? You're talking about the lean cruise stuff. Basically, it's just, I mean, I don't know what you're asking. It's lean cruise is just some settings that whenever you're in cruising mode, it will allow it to command leaner than 14.7, you know, and so just don't get too carried away. Don't take it out much beyond like 15.1 or 15.2. I don't know that it's going to save you that much on gas mileage, though. I'll be honest with you, just tuning it will probably make a better improvement in gas mileage than messing with the lean cruise stuff. So, but yep, that's pretty much kind of where we're at. As I said, I wanted to do a live stream, bring you guys in tonight, show you what was going on. It is 6 o'clock, so I'm going to wrap up for the night. I've got quite a bit to do tomorrow, but hopefully, fingers crossed, if we get everything dialed in as far as getting the transmission set up and stuff like that, maybe we can and get the leaks fixed tomorrow. Maybe we can actually take this thing out for a spin and start tuning it on the road. So make sure and stick around for that. I'll be doing some videos on the FuelTech stuff, getting more in-depth on it very soon. We'll be talking about how to set it up, how to use data logs, stuff like that. It's very intuitive. There is some things that seem a little bit weird, but it's just like first-time exposure to the software that will make sense whenever you start dialing in or diving into it and stuff like that. So we got 12 days, 12 hours, 28 minutes till this thing's got to be on the trailer. The next step is to get it driving. The step after that is to start putting boost to it with this new turbo, new intake new throttle body, heads, exhaust, you know, working the bugs out. But I'll tell you, so far, there's been very few bugs. This is not like the Nova where we just were fighting things left and right. So stick around. You guys know the drill. Thanks for stopping by the garage. Remember, ABT, always be tuning.